Hey folks, well I'm back in the shop this morning. I'm going to try to get a projector mounted in the headlight assembly that I took apart last night. Hopefully all goes well, but I got a feeling it'll be a bit of a hack and slash. It's going to take me a little bit of time to figure it out, but in any case I will document it for you and hopefully you enjoy it. Alright, you can see the reflector assembly here. Got it all taken apart and ready to go, and I did some preliminary measurements looking at it last night, trying to figure out how I'm going to keep this reference point angles and that the same once I get the new projector in. So what I found out using my square here, not going to be too bad. Turns out that this flat surface right here is actually, if you put the square on like that, it's pretty much perpendicular to this face here. There's just a tiny bit out, but to be honest, not enough to make any difference. Sorry about the noise in the background. Cats in here causing problems. But so yeah, so that won't be too bad. It's just a touch out, so I can tweak that a little bit as needed. I'll probably try to mount the projector using these existing holes, and I can always shim a little bit with washers just to get it just right. So that part's easy. The hard part, or what I thought was going to be a hard part, is this angle right here, trying to get it pointing that way, because I wasn't sure how I'd get a reference point. But what I found out, or what I decided to do, I lay a straight edge across here, and it turns out, and you measure up from this face, and it's like 2 1/16 inches, or 54 millimeters, somewhere in there, and it's the same on this side. So what that means is I can use that same sort of method to get the headlight pointing properly in that plane. So now what I need to do is figure out how I'm going to cut this back side open just right, just so that this fits in there. So probably what I was thinking about this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to disassemble this housing, this whole projector assembly, so that this back housing is off, and I can kind of put that on the back side here and line it up and use this to mark on the reflector where it needs to cut. So I'm going to do that and start cutting and see how it ends up. Well, I got to start on the Dremel. I've got actually 2 Dremels. So I rigged up one with the sanding drum, the other one down here on the flex cable with the cutoff disc. So first thing I did, I only got to start on it, so I just ground down the mounting points on the back of the headlight, the reflector assembly, so that I can mark the where this is going to get cut out. Now this plastic, it's interesting plastic. It makes a heck of a lot of dust when you cut it. It doesn't melt. It's a fairly hard, brittle plastic. So I'm kind of covered in white dust. It's not very nice stuff to cut, but oh well. So in any case, there's the top. So what I was going to do is I can just turn it over this way. I can use this. These are kind of the center points here where the bulb will sit. So maybe what I'll do is I'll just take my marker and kind of eyeball it out approximately where the center is, all the way down. I'm not going to make it perfect, just gives me a rough idea. I can tweak it later. So if you look on here, I got these little nubs. I can use that as a center as well. And then the other thing I can do is I can mark center here as well. So I can extend these lines out And then this here is a center, more or less, and then kind of right in there is a center. So with those, all those marks, I can get this thing kind of lined up where it needs to be, and just kind of rough mark all the way around. See, it's very rough because obviously this thing can't fit, but it gives me a bit of a guideline to start opening it up. Mark it all the way around, and then there you can kind of get a rough idea. It's not perfect, but I can also go by, there's an actual circle cast in around there. You won't be able to see it on the video, which gives me an idea as well where I need to cut. I think the biggest thing, now that I think about it, I might be better off to fit this in behind and just kind of work my way out. I can use these molded in lines to keep myself kind of centered up and down, and these centered left and right. Just keep working it until that drops in. So I'll fire up the Dremel and make a little bit more depth. So last side, come from here. There we go. Well, I'm going to do this side a little bit more. Come out to the line better. There, looks like a big eyeball. Then I'll do a test fit. Getting closer. Just have to open it up here and here. Like I say, keep sneaking up on fitment. I'm not going to bother videoing the rest of it. It's boring stuff. I'll show you the end result. Alright, here you can see, got the hole cut in. I've got a bit of a dilemma, if you want to call it that. You can see I got the shroud mounted, but I wasn't sure if I wanted this to, all this flat mounting surface to end up behind here. And then that would get a more of a flush mount inside. Then it would be a lot harder to mount because you'd really have to shore it up somehow. So currently fits in. See the back side fits fairly tight, somewhere right around there. You might not be able to see in the video. If I hold the camera in place just right, you can see there. Get my finger out of the way. There's a bit of a gap between the shroud and the reflector on the top, and a little bit in there. But you know, I was thinking about it, to be honest. I'm doing this more for performance of the lighting, get better lighting, than to be really 100% pretty. So I don't think I'll worry too much about that gap at the moment. It's really not that bad, and once the light is assembled, you'd have to look in there to see, and I'm not sure if I'll black out the light or not. I may black it out, in which case it actually would show up more if I black it out. So I haven't decided if I'm going to paint the inside of the light. I may leave it all chrome, but in any case, there's what you get. Looking not too bad. I'll have to do the measurements of this with the ruler and the back side. Just from eyeballing it, it looks like it's pretty good this way. I'll have to check it this way, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to use to mount the whole assembly. Now I've got the, still got to put the shroud, or the solenoid and the cutoff thing in place. So I'll have to pull this all back apart and mount that all, and then the wire will have to come out through here, and then get this lined up just right. And don't know what I'll use to hold it. I'll probably use some, I don't know, a lot of guys use silicone, that sort of thing, but I'm not convinced that's the best route to go. So I'm almost thinking, because I got some room here, I may actually carefully cut a few holes, drill a few holes in that flange, and then I can thread them with my tap and die set. Possibly run a screw from here in, but because this is angled, that might be hard to do as well. So I don't know. I'll figure it out and see what I come up with. So I'll work on that right now and show you what I decided on and how I did it. Well, I came up with a way to mount these. I think it'll work out okay, and it'll give me a little bit of adjustment. You can see what I did here is I used some of my 4mm bolts from my RC stuff, which happen to be the right thread, and I took this off for now to test, and sure enough, the bolts that hold this to the reflector are 4mm. So I got some longer ones, and a little bit of trial and error. I had to open up the holes a fair bit. I put holes in the back of the reflector. Found some nuts. It's one of the problems I run into though, is I don't have any 4mm nuts besides RC wheel nuts. So I'll have to run to town and see if I can find some. But that way I can mount everything up. The bolts are long enough. They come right through the back of the reflector, and voila, it's mounted. Obviously I'll make a spacer here with the right angle so that it puts better pressure on the reflector, and you don't want to crank these down much because they'll crack. But once it's all mounted up, I'll just take some black RTV or whatever and seal it all up around here, and I think that'll work out good. So that'll allow me to pull the whole reflector out, because you need to, or this whole housing out, to be able to mount, because the shrouds mount from the back side. Let's see here, which way do they go? They go like this. They mount up like that. And I also checked, I got all the clearance of these shrouds, maybe just a touch, so they'll fit, but I think that'll work good. And also, I was able to use this base and line it up with this base, so that gets the side to side good, so the lights are level, and then, or sorry, the side to side, and then the up and down as well. I will have to test and see, and using this method will allow me to put a few spacers in behind here if I need to. So let's just check. I got a feeling it's not going to be quite right, but let's take a look and see. Throw this square together, and let's see how out to lunch it is. It's going to be kind of hard because this surface is pretty small. I guess what I can do, give me a little more room, surface area, is thread that nut on part way and slap this on. And see, it's got to come down a bit, so I'll have to space this out a bit. Make a spacer on the bottom side to kick this out a bit, and that should do it. Even just a few washers or a little aluminum spacer, something will take care of that. But I think I'm going to run to town and get some nuts so I can put my wheels back on my RC vehicles and finish this up, and I'll show you the final assembly once I get back. Well, there you have it, folks. I got it mounted. Here, like I say, there's a bit of a gap top and bottom, but I'm not going to be too worried about that. As I say, it's going to set up for better lighting, and I think it turned out pretty good considering I've never done this before, just looking online. Got the alignment. I checked my alignment based on this surface and this surface, and it's pretty close. Here you can see the nuts I put on. They're not tight yet because I red Loctited these bolts on, because when I try to put the nuts on they back out on the other side. So once the red Loctite dries, then I can I'll blue Loctite these nuts on. They're lock nuts, but these ones don't engage the threads far enough, so I'll blue Loctite these ones on, and these ones will be alright because they engage the locking mechanism. But I don't know, for first time it's turning out not too bad. Once I get all these bolts mounted and tight, I'll just take some goop or shoe goo. I think I've got goop. It's kind of like a silicone, automotive goop. It's kind of a silicone based sealant that you can pull off if need be, and I'll seal up around all these nuts and around this gap so that it's all sealed up good and tight. But if I ever need to get this projector out, I can just peel it off, take these nuts out, and off it comes. So yeah, I'm happy. It's a lot of work. I can see why people charge quite a lot of money to do this, but definitely worthwhile. One of the problems I see that I've created though is this Reflector has quite a bit of a haze in it. Don't know if it's from all the grinding and whatnot, but I'll just polish it up good with some Brasso metal polish. Even though it's a chromed plastic, I think this stuff will clean it up pretty good. I'll do that after I get everything permanently mounted and go from there. So the next step is to do the other side. A whole bunch more work, but now I know what needs to be done. Once that side is done, I will do a video of polishing out these lenses. Never done that before either, so we'll see how that goes. Just a good sanding and a polishing. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it a little bit useful. If you want to try this yourself, or at least entertaining in any case, I will talk to you later.